The desperate signal. The notification chimed softly in the quiet halls of the Arecibo Deep Space Communications Center at exactly 11:47 p.m. Dr. Sarah Chen looked up from her coffee, steam still rising from the ceramic mug decorated with equations from her doctoral thesis. After 15 years of monitoring the cosmos for signs of intelligent life, she had learned to expect nothing but cosmic background radiation and the occasional pulsar. Tonight was different. The signal appeared on her screens as a series of complex mathematical patterns, too structured to be natural, too sophisticated to be human. Sarah's hands trembled slightly as she adjusted the filters and cleaned up the transmission. The patterns repeated every 43 seconds, each cycle identical to the last, suggesting an automated distress beacon. "This can't be right," she whispered to herself, running the signal through the translation protocols that had been theoretical until this moment. The computer worked for several minutes, cross-referencing the mathematical relationships against every known pattern of logic and communication. Then the screen displayed something that made Sarah's heart race. Words. Actual translated words. Urgent assistance required. Viridian civilization under attack. Coordinates follow. Please respond if you value peace. Sarah grabbed her phone and dialed Director James Blake's emergency line. Blake had been running Earth's xenocommunication programs since their inception, a serious man in his 60s who had dedicated his life to this moment. "This better be important, Chen," Blake's gruff voice answered after the third ring. "Sir, we have confirmed extraterrestrial intelligence. They're asking for help." Silence stretched for several seconds before Blake responded. "I'll be there in 20 minutes. Don't touch anything else until I arrive." Within an hour, the facility buzzed with activity. Military personnel, government officials, and scientists crowded around Sarah's workstation as she played the full translated message. The alien voice, when finally processed through their linguistic algorithms, carried an unmistakable tone of desperation. To any spacefaring civilization capable of receiving this transmission, we are the Viridians of the Kepler 442 system. Our worlds have been under siege by the Shadowkin Empire for 8 local cycles. 3 of our colony worlds have already fallen. We are a peaceful people with no military capabilities. Our children are dying. If there is anyone out there who values life and freedom, please help us. We offer our friendship and knowledge in return for any assistance you can provide." Captain Maya Rodriguez arrived as the message finished playing. At 38, she commanded respect through competence rather than intimidation. Her dark hair was pulled back in a regulation bun, and her uniform bore the insignia of the Mars Defense Force, where she had earned her reputation during the mining colony uprising 3 years earlier. "How far?" Rodriguez asked without preamble. 47 light years, Sarah replied. "The Kepler 442 system." Rodriguez studied the star charts projected on the wall. "Our fastest ships could reach them in 6 months using the new quantum drives. That's assuming they're still alive when we get there." Director Blake stepped forward. "Captain, this isn't your decision to make. We need to convene the World Defense Council immediately. The implications of first contact, let alone military intervention in an alien conflict, are enormous." While we debate, Rodriguez said firmly, an entire species might be wiped out. According to this message, they've been under attack for months already. The next 72 hours passed in heated discussions across every level of Earth's government. The World Defense Council convened an emergency session, representatives from every major nation arguing the merits and risks of intervention. Some advocated for cautious diplomatic contact first. Others insisted humanity wasn't ready for interstellar conflicts. Rodriguez found herself standing before the assembled council, defending a position she knew was dangerous, but felt was right. "Council members," she began, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. "We face a choice that will define humanity's place in the galaxy. Do we respond to a cry for help from innocent people, or do we hide behind our own fears?" Councilwoman Elizabeth Harper from the European Federation leaned forward. Captain Rodriguez, we appreciate your conviction, but you're asking us to potentially start a war with an alien empire we know nothing about. What if these Shadowkin turn their attention to Earth? With respect, Councilwoman, if they're expanding through that sector, they'll find us eventually anyway. Better to meet them on terms of our choosing, fighting alongside allies, than to wait for them to arrive at our doorstep. The debate continued for hours. Rodriguez presented tactical assessments, resource requirements, and risk analyses. The Viridian system was rich in rare minerals that could benefit Earth's expanding space colonies. More importantly, the enemy they faced might threaten other peaceful species if left unchecked. Finally, Council President Andres Mueller called for a vote, all in favor of authorizing a military response to the Viridian distress call. The vote was closer than Rodriguez had hoped. 12 in favor, 8 against, with 3 abstentions, close enough to proceed barely. Captain Rodriguez, President Mueller announced, you are hereby authorized to lead a fleet of 7 vessels to the Kepler 442 system. Your mission is to assess the situation and provide appropriate assistance to the Viridians against the Shadowkin threat. The next 6 weeks blurred together in a frenzy of preparation. Rodriguez selected her fleet carefully. The UES Defiance would serve as flagship, a heavy cruiser equipped with humanity's most advanced weapons and defensive systems. The UES Aurora and UES Vanguard provided additional firepower, while the UES Harmony carried medical supplies and humanitarian aid. 3 support vessels rounded out the fleet. Rodriguez's crew was equally carefully chosen. Lieutenant Connor Walsh, her tactical officer, had distinguished himself during the Jupiter Station siege. Dr. Elena Vasquez would serve as both chief medical officer and xenobiology specialist. Chief engineer Marcus Kane had designed many of the quantum drive improvements that made the journey possible. On the morning of departure, thousands gathered at the Luna City spaceport to witness history. Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the Defiance, watching her crew take their positions with quiet professionalism. These men and women were volunteers, every one of them knowing they might not return home. Final systems check complete, Captain, reported Lieutenant Walsh from his station. All vessels report ready for departure. Rodriguez opened a fleet-wide communication channel. This is Captain Rodriguez to all vessels. Today we embark on humanity's first interstellar rescue mission. We go not for conquest or glory, but to answer a call for help from those who cannot help themselves. We carry with us the hopes of Earth and the responsibility to represent our species with honor. She paused, looking out at the star-filled void that would be their home for the next 6 months. Whatever we find at our destination, we'll face it together. We are the fleet that heard the call. We are coming to help. All vessels, engage quantum drives. One by one, the 7 ships accelerated beyond the speed of light, disappearing into the cosmic distance in flashes of brilliant energy. Behind them, Earth's deep space monitors tracked their progress until even the quantum signatures faded into the background noise of space. Dr. Sarah Chen remained at her post, continuing to monitor the Viridian distress signal. Each day it grew slightly weaker, the pattern occasionally interrupted by bursts of static that might have been weapons fire or atmospheric interference from burning worlds. 6 months and 3 days after receiving the first transmission, the signal stopped entirely. Sarah stared at her silent equipment, wondering if they were too late, if Captain Rodriguez and her fleet were racing toward empty space and silent worlds. She had done everything she could. Now it was up to the fleet to write the next chapter of humanity's story among the stars. In the depths of space, 7 human ships continued their journey toward an unknown fate, carrying with them the hopes of 2 species and the weight of first contact. Whatever awaited them in the Kepler 442 system, they would meet it with the determination and courage that had carried humanity from cave paintings to the stars. The fleet was coming. Contact and confrontation. Captain Maya Rodriguez felt the familiar sensation of quantum drive disengagement as the UES Defiance dropped back into normal space at the edge of the Kepler 442 system. Around her, The bridge crew worked with quiet efficiency, their faces illuminated by instrument panels showing readings that made her stomach tighten. "Sensor sweep complete, Captain," Lieutenant Walsh reported, his voice carefully neutral. "I'm reading massive debris fields throughout the system. Multiple planet-side fires visible on long-range scans." Rodriguez moved to the tactical display, studying the devastation spread across what should have been a thriving star system. Broken ships drifted in silent orbits around dead worlds. The third planet, which their intelligence suggested was the Viridian homeworld, showed the telltale heat signatures of recent bombardment. "Any signs of life?" she asked. "Scanning now, Captain." "Wait." Walsh's expression changed. "I'm picking up a faint energy signature from the fourth planet's largest moon. Could be artificial. Set course for that moon. Alert the fleet to maintain defensive positions." Rodriguez settled into her command chair, mind racing through possibilities. If there were survivors, they would be hiding, probably terrified. If this was a trap, her fleet was walking into it with their eyes open. The journey to the moon took 18 hours. As they drew closer, the energy signature resolved into what appeared to be a heavily shielded underground facility. Rodriguez decided on a calculated risk. "Open a channel on all frequencies," she ordered. "Include the mathematical sequences from their original distress call." The communication officer worked for several minutes before nodding. "Channel open, Captain." Rodriguez took a deep breath. "This is Captain Maya Rodriguez of the Earth vessel Defiance. We received your distress call 6 months ago. Are there Viridians receiving this transmission?" Static filled the bridge for several tense minutes. Then, through the interference, came a voice unlike anything humans had ever heard. It was musical, with harmonics that seemed to resonate in frequencies beyond normal human hearing. "Earth vessel, you came. We had almost lost hope." The translation software worked in real time, giving them words while preserving the alien intonation. "I am Elder Nexus of the Viridian Collective. You are the beings from the Death World." Rodriguez exchanged glances with Walsh. "Death World. Your planet," the alien voice continued. "According to our archives, Earth registers as a Class 12 hostile environment. High gravity, extreme weather, dangerous wildlife, and frequent natural disasters. In our classification system, worlds that produce spacefaring species despite such conditions are called death worlds. We did not expect anyone to answer our call, least of all Deathworlders." "Elder Nexus," Rodriguez replied. "We came as soon as we could. What is your current situation?" A pause stretched before the response came. "We have perhaps 300 survivors hidden in this facility. The Shadowkin destroyed our homeworld 2 cycles ago. They will return soon to harvest the crystal formations from our planet's cores. We estimate 4 of your days, perhaps 5. Rodriguez made her decision. "We're coming aboard your facility to meet in person. Can you accommodate 7 beings in standard atmospheric conditions?" "Yes, Captain Rodriguez. Our environmental systems can adjust. We look forward to meeting the Deathworlders who crossed the void to help strangers." The shuttle bay of the Viridian facility was larger than Rodriguez had expected, clearly designed for vessels much different from human ships. As her landing party disembarked, they got their first look at the beings they had traveled 47 light years to help. The Viridians were tall and graceful, averaging nearly 7 feet in height with elongated limbs and necks. Their skin had a translucent quality that seemed to shift between pale blue and silver depending on the lighting. Most striking were their large, multifaceted eyes that took up nearly a quarter of their faces, giving them an almost insectoid appearance that was both alien and oddly beautiful. Elder Nexus approached slowly, his movements fluid like water. When he spoke, Rodriguez could see the translation device attached to his throat vibrating with the complex harmonics of his natural voice. "Captain Rodriguez," he said, offering what might have been their species' equivalent of a bow. "On behalf of the surviving Viridians, I welcome you to our refuge. Though I must admit, seeing Deathworlders in person is intimidating." Rodriguez studied the alien leader, noting the way other Viridians kept their distance from her team. Elder Nexus, we're here to help. Can you tell us about the Shadowkin? What are we facing? The Elder gestured for them to follow him deeper into the facility. As they walked, Rodriguez observed the Viridian architecture, all flowing curves and organic shapes that seemed grown rather than built. Crystalline formations provided soft, ambient lighting throughout the complex. The Shadowkin Empire spans dozens of systems, Nexus explained as they entered what appeared to be a command center filled with holographic displays. They are not individually powerful physically, but their technology is advanced, and they have mastered something we never imagined. Which is? Asked Dr. Vasquez, the expedition's xenobiologist. Warfare, Nexus replied simply. We Viridians evolved on a world with no predators, no natural disasters, no competition for resources. The concept of organized violence was entirely foreign to us until the Shadowkin arrived. We had no defenses, no weapons, no understanding of military tactics. Lieutenant Walsh stepped forward, studying the tactical displays. What do their ships look like? What kind of weapons do they use? Nexus manipulated the holographic controls, showing images of sleek, black vessels that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Their ships are fast and heavily armed. They use directed energy weapons that can penetrate our shields as if they don't exist, but more terrifying is their method of conquest. The display changed to show a planet's surface, cities burning under a dark sky. They don't simply destroy. They drain the life force from entire worlds, using our own crystal formations to amplify the process. The planets die slowly, and the Shadowkin grow stronger. Rodriguez felt a chill run down her spine. How many ships in their fleet? The force that attacked our homeworld consisted of 47 vessels of various sizes. Their command ship alone was larger than this entire facility. Chief Engineer Kane whistled softly. Our 7 ships against 47. Those aren't good odds. Perhaps, said a new voice from behind them. They turned to see a younger Viridian approaching, smaller than the Elder, but with the same graceful movements. But Deathworlders think differently than we do. This is Vex, Elder Nexus explained. Our most gifted engineer, and since the attacks began, our closest approximation to a military strategist. Vex moved to the tactical display with obvious excitement. I have been studying the historical records of your species since you made contact. Humans have fought countless wars throughout your development. You understand concepts like ambush, misdirection, and tactical sacrifice that are completely foreign to us. Rodriguez found herself warming to the young alien's enthusiasm. What are you thinking, Vex? The Shadowkin expect us to hide or flee. They have never encountered a species that fights back effectively. But you? Vex manipulated the display to show the layout of the star system. You come from a world that tried to kill you every day. You developed not just to survive, but to thrive in the face of adversity. The boy has been obsessing over human military history, Elder Nexus said with what might have been fondness. He believes our crystal technology combined with your tactical knowledge could create effective weapons. Rodriguez studied the system layout, her mind already working through possibilities. Show me everything you have on their weapons and ship configurations, and I want to know more about these crystals thereafter. The next 3 days passed in intensive planning and preparation. Vex worked with Chief Engineer Kane to integrate Viridian crystal technology with human weapon systems. The results were impressive. Energy weapons with twice the power output and defensive shields that could actually withstand Shadowkin attacks. Dr. Vasquez spent her time learning about Viridian biology and culture, preparing for the possibility of evacuating survivors. What she discovered was both fascinating and heartbreaking. An entire species that had never known violence, thrust into a war they couldn't comprehend. On the 4th day, long-range sensors detected the approach of the Shadowkin fleet. 63 ships this time, Lieutenant Walsh reported grimly. They've reinforced since their last attack. Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the Defiance, now equipped with Viridian crystal enhancements that made the human ships glow with an eerie blue light. Around her, the combined human Viridian fleet prepared for battle. The Viridians had managed to make 3 of their remaining ships operational, giving them 10 vessels total against 63. "This is Captain Rodriguez to all ships," she broadcast. "Today we fight not just for the Viridians, but for the principle that peaceful peoples should not live in fear of those who would destroy them. We are outnumbered, but we are not outmatched. We carry with us the determination of 2 species united in purpose." The Shadowkin fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel in perfect formation, their black ships seeming to absorb the light of the system's star. The lead vessel was massive, easily 3 times the size of the Defiance. A transmission came through on all frequencies, the voice cold and mechanical through the translation systems. "Viridian survivors, you have delayed the inevitable long enough. Surrender now, and your deaths will be swift. Resist, and we will make this system a monument to the futility of defying the Shadowkin Empire." Rodriguez smiled grimly and opened a response channel. "This is Captain Maya Rodriguez of the Earth Defense Fleet. The Viridians are under our protection now. If you want them, you'll have to go through us." Silence stretched across space for several moments before the Shadowkin commander responded. "Deathworlders, we have heard rumors of your kind. Let us see if you live up to your reputation." The battle for the Kepler 442 system was about to begin. The space between worlds erupted in fire and light as 2 vastly different philosophies of existence met in mortal combat. Humanity had answered the call across the void, and now they would discover whether the courage that carried them to the stars was enough to save 2 species from extinction. The fleet had arrived. The fight for survival was just beginning.